सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। नमः श्री शङ्करानन्द गुरुपादाम्बुजन्मने सविलास महामोह ग्राहग्रासैककर्मणि तत्पादाम्बुरुहद्वन्द्व सेवा निर्मलचेतसाम् सुखबोधाय तत्त्वस्य विवेकोऽयं विधीयते। शब्दस्पर्शादयो वेद्याः वैचित्र्याज्जागरे पृथक् ततो विभक्ता तत्संवित् ऐक्यरूप्यान्न भिद्यते। तथा स्वप्नेऽत्र वेद्यन्तो न स्थिरं जागरे स्थिरम् तद्भेदो तस्तयोः संवित् एकरूपान् भिद्यते। सुप्तोत्थितस्य सौषुप्ततमो बोधो भवेत् स्मृतिः सा चावबुद्धविषया अवबुद्धं तत्तदा ततः सबोधो विषयाद् भिन्नः न बोधात् स्वप्नबोधवत् एवं स्थानत्रयेऽप्येका संवितत्वद्दिनान्तरे मासाब्दायुगकल्पेषु गतागम्येष्वनेकधा नोदेति नास्तमेत्येका संविदेशा स्वयं प्रभा। इयमात्मा परानन्दः परप्रेमास्पदं यतः मानभुवं हि भूयासम् इति प्रेमात्मनीक्ष्यते। In this first chapter of Panchadashi, that is the first prakarana, is called Tattva Vivekaha. And Swami Vidyaranya is unfolding the nature, essential nature of the jiva. In other words, we are in the Tvampada Vichara. What is the essential nature of the jiva? Sat Chit Ananda Swarupa Atma. So to conclude, to arrive at this nature of the jiva as Asti Bhati Priyam or Sat Chit Ananda, the author takes up the Avasthatraya Sakshi Prakriya and very systematically devotes one verse to each of the states. So first, the author takes up the Jagrat Avastha. And in the Jagrat Avastha, the author says that how do we perceive anything? Shabda Dayaha. So all the external sense objects, Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha, they are all what? Vedyaha. They are all known. How are they known? They are known in the form of vrittis in the mind. They are shining as vrittis. And the mind is lighted up by consciousness. So then the author says that all these objects that we see in the Jagrat Avastha, they're all diverse, but each is Prithak. How unique they are. We don't have two fingerprints similar. Twins are different, two leaves of the same tree. They're all Vaichitriya and Prithak. But the perceiving consciousness that perceives all the objects, the Drishya Prapancha in the waking state is one, is Eka Rupa. And so that is the Sakshi Drik. Now, this was a Jagrat Avastha. How an author says that even though the perceptions are all distinct and varied, but the consciousness and the name given is Sa Samvit. Yeah, Samvit or the consciousness is changeless. It is one. When we talk about the various perceptions, we say flower is, fruit is, sky is, rain is, a person is, lotus is not. So, what is common across the perceptions is isness. And so, that the author says is all the changing vrittis, the namarupas, are loaded, superimposed on the one changeless samvit consciousness. So that consciousness knows the presence of objects and the absence of objects in any state. So that was the Jagrat Avastha. Then what about the dream Avastha? The dream Avastha we saw in the verse number 4. Now the dream Avastha we know is the entire dream world, dream Vyavahara, transactions are all a projection of the vasanas which are already recorded in the mind and projected. So we see that just in a span of 3 minutes of the waking time, we would have crossed continents and yugas, everything, all that is happening only in the space of the mind. So there also we have this Vichitram Jagat, and we have all the objects are Prathak. Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. Through a dream body, dream mind, dream sense organs, everything is experienced. But again, that Sa Samvit, what is it that lights up the mind that is projecting the dream? The same Sa Samvit, the changeless consciousness or Sakshi Drik. Then the author pointed out what is the difference between the two states, waking state and dream state. The difference here the author points out is in the Jagrat Avastha, the Shabdadeha, time, space, the world around us, Drishya Prapancha, is more stable. Stiram. There is a stability, there is a continuity. Whereas in the dream Avastha, they are fleeting. Na stiram. That was a difference. But is the Samvit consciousness the same in the waking state and in the dream state? Yes. Do I not say, I slept last night, I dreamed, I woke up, I. So that invariable constant, which is Avastha Sakshi, that is the thread of continuity connecting all the Avasthas. Not only Avasthas, but the stages of life, Balya, Dishwapi, Jagrada, Dishu, Tatha, Sarvasu, Avasthasu, there is the one thread of continuity. So Vidyaranya is asking us to inquire into the I. So whenever I say I am, who is this I? So the I is the conscious sentient being, and the amness, the isness is the Satvastu, Nitya Satvastu. Then in the last session, we saw the third Avastha, which is the Sushupti Avastha, in verse number 5. So the author again analyzes this deep sleep state. Now, in the deep sleep state, what happens? Are there objects? No, there is the absence of objects. Why? Because the mind has withdrawn into an Ati Sukshma state, into the causal body. Into the causal body, and that is called Avidya Vritti. So look at the verse number 5. Suptotitasya saushupta tamo bodhaha bhavet smritihi. So the one who was suptaha was asleep, but now he is uttitaha, awakened, got up from sleep. So what is our anubhava after waking up? If we have really gone into deep sleep, I would have said, oh, I had a sound sleep. Yeah? Nakinchit api avedisham sukham asvapsam. I slept very well, but I did not know anything. Now this is the smritihi. What is smritihi? Memory, recollection. So the recollection or the memory of having slept having not known anything, happens in which avastha? Jagrat avastha, on waking up. But, we know from many other Upanishads that anubhutihi eva samvit. Can we have a memory of anything in life without having experienced it? No. So there is a sentence which says anubhutihi eva samvid pratibodha viditam matam. Kena Upanishad. That is, wherever there is an experience, consciousness has to be there. Right now, can speech happen without being backed up by the prana of the prana, eye of the eye, ear of the ear? No, vacho hi vachaha, chakshushaha, chakshuha, chakshuha. Like that we saw in the Kena Upanishad. So this smritihi, this memory of having slept the previous night, is only possible when there was an experience. Now, what is the experience we all had in the deep sleep of last night? Ignorance. Yeah, that is what the shloka says. Saushupta tamo bodhaha. That is, there was the experience. What was known? What was known is that I did not know anything, right? So there was the awareness of the absence of objects. There was no experience. And having no experience is also an experience. Then sa cha avabuddha vishaya avabuddham tat tada tamaha. So we can say that there can be no recollection without the experience of ignorance in the deep sleep state. So, in the deep sleep state, was I there? Yes, we were all there, but in a capsule form. In the sukshma state, in the karana shariram. But where is the samvit then? The samvit consciousness continues? Yes. Because now in the deep sleep state, consciousness is illumining what? Illumining the karana avastha and illumining the absence of objects. Illumining the state of ignorance. Like right now, if I know a language, let's say Bengali, so I can say I know that I know Bengali. There is the awareness of my knowledge of a language. Now, if I do not know Malayalam, then again there is the awareness of the knowledge of the ignorance of a language. So that is the sa samvit that the author is arriving at. It is the sakshi drik that is aware of the presence of objects in the Jagrat and Swapnavastha, and again it is aware of the absence of objects, state of tamas. Tamas here is ignorance in the deep sleep state. So you see, everybody loves to sleep, right? We all want a good sound sleep. So this shows that Anandam, Anandam is our very nature. Because in the deep sleep state, did we possess anything? Do we have any relationships? Do we have any duties? Any obligations? Nothing. So not even body is there. Not even mind is there. But what is there? Anandam. So the Anandam that we all enjoyed in a passive mode in the deep sleep state itself proves that what? Ananda Rupa Atma. That my true essential nature of the jiva is Anandam. Yeah. So then having completed the three avasthas, then Vidyaranya Muni says that, so this is the sa samvit. Now this samvit is not different from itself. There is only the same samvit that continues from the Jagrat to the Sapna to the Sushupti, or in any order, from Jagrat, Sushupti, Swapna. So the three states, they are rotating, mutually exclusive, but Sa Samvit is the invariable constant. It is the Adhara of all the avasthas. So thus we see that the author has arrived at the two important aspects of Atma, Sat aspect and Chit. Chit is consciousness, Bhati, and Sat is Astitvam, that amness. Then we saw the time scale. Does the Samvit, will it continue tomorrow, day after, next month? Yes, day after day, dinantare, month after month, year after year, and in every samvatsara, in every yuga, in every kalpa, in every cycle of creation, it is the same sa samvit. And that sa samvit, the nature is sat, that is trikaleshu yat satyam tishtati, tat abaditam satyam. In the 3 periods of time, that is the satvastu. And that is Swayam Prabha, na udeti nastam gacchati. In the shloka number 7, na udeti. So this consciousness does not come into being like a birth and does not disappear, become unmanifest like a death. Na astam gacchati. It is Swayam Prabha. Swayam Prabha means Swayam Bhati Anyan Bhasayati. That is whatever is moving, talking right now, shining, Jiva Jantus in any yuga. And that is because of the borrowed sentience. And so, this Sa Samvit is the Chit. The Chit or the Bhati. So now, the 2 important aspects, Sat and Chit, have been concluded by the author. Now, he takes up the 3rd aspect of consciousness, which is Anandam. Now, this Anandam is the most tricky part or difficult part for us to understand. Okay, so look at the 8th verse. I won't be able to display, and let us read out that shloka. So here the author says, Iyamatma paranandaha parapremaspadam yataha manabhuvam hi bhuyasam iti prematmaniksyate. So, iyam atma paranandaha parapremaspadam yataha manabhuvam hi bhuyasam iti prema atmani ikshyate. So here, Vidyaranya says, now we are going to look at the Ananda aspect of Atma. So Sat and Chit is over. Asti Bhati is over. And now we are looking into Ananda. Now, how would we normally translate Ananda? Happiness, right? But that is a very poor translation. So we do not want to translate Ananda, Atma, as joy or bliss or happiness. Why? Because it is often very confusing. It talks about experiential Ananda. So any Ananda that is centered on a situation, on a person, on an event, would be an experiential Ananda. But here we're talking about the nature of Atma as Ananda. So, Puja Swamiji had a better word, said, let us call it fullness. And the Taittiriya Upanishad talks about these 3 aspects, Satyam, Sat, Chit, Ananda as Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam. So, Sat is the Nitya Vastu, Satyam. Chit is the Jnana Sarupaha, Jnanam. And Ananda is Ananta. Now, what is Ananta? Infinite, limitlessness. So that which is free from the 3-4 limitations, time, space, and vastu. Kala, desha, vastu, aparichinna atma would be a better translation for Ananda Rupa Atma. So in this shloka, number 8, Vidyaranya Muni says, Iyam Atma. This Atma is Paramanandaha. So the words for Ananta Atma would be Swarupananda, Niratishayananda, Nirnimittananda, Paramananda, Brahmananda, in which there is no gradation. I'm happy, happier, happiest. Priya, Moda, Pramoda is not there in Swarupananda. So it is the nature of fullness or limitlessness, freedom from every kind of limitation. In Anatma, we find the three kinds of limitation, right? Time-wise, space-wise, object-wise, which is not there in Ananda Atma. So, Iyam Atma Paranandaha. And this Atma, author says, is Parama Prema Aspadam. Now, Aspadam means object, a locus. Yeah? A locus means again that which is an object of love. So, the first line says that whatever is a source of anandam for me, yeah, I will love it. That becomes an object of love for me. Like, how about some examples? No? So we love our family, we love children, grandchildren, we love our parents, garden, and plants, and pets, and home, and wealth, and fame, and status, profession, roles. We love all of this. Why do we love them? Because they all give me some form of anandam. Some form of ananda means they give me some comfort, some comfort, some relief, some joy, some pleasure. Yeah? So this is why they are aspada. So iyam atma paranandaha parapremaspadam yataha. Now because an object gives me anandam, then it becomes an object of my love. So we love whatever gives me anandam. Now, does that object or that situation or the person always give me anandam? No. So our experience definitely proves that. So when there is a change of opinion and when there is difference of opinion, then what happens? You know, the one as a child, what does one love the most? Mother and father, parents. Huh? Then when the child starts growing, the love shifts to toys. And then love shifts to gadgets, bigger toys. Then the love shifts to mobiles, then girlfriends, and then other hobbies will be there. Then one gets married. The love is distributed over the wife and then the children, child. And then this is how the love keeps on changing. Then what does Shankaracharya tell in the Bhaja Govindam? Yavat vittoparjana saktaha tavan nija parivaro raktaha pascha jivati jarjara dehe vartam kopina prichhati gehe bhaja govindam govindam bhaja modhamate. Loka 3 or 5, I think. Shankaracharya presents the worst scenario in the world. And what does Shankaracharya say? That as long as one is fit and earning and one is seen as a source of comfort, conveniences, this person is bringing wealth. So we are living by that, sustained by that. There will be asakti, taktaha. There'll be an emotional dependence and one will be welcomed and taken good care of. But later, when the same person is grown old, is retired, and has aging issues, who has the time to even speak to the person? Vartam kopina prichhati gehe. So, this is, of course, not the situation in every home. Shankaracharya describes the worst situation that can happen. So then, is the person still seen as a source of ananda? No. So then that person is not a prema aspadaha, is not an object of love. So you see how the love in the world is worldly love, somewhat selfish? In a way, yes. So there is love towards our family and world. There is love for the body, there's love for the mind, and through my body, Anatma body, the love extends to the family and then to the whole world. Now here, the second line, what does Acharya say here? Iyam Atma Paranandaha Parapremaspadam Yataha. But what about the love that we have towards Atma? Is that also conditional? No. The love towards the Atma is total. It is totally unconditional. So Atma is Priyatamaha, which means the dearest for everyone. Why is that so? The Vidyaranya Muni points out, Mana bhuvam hi bhuyasam iti prema atmani ikshate. Ikshate means this is seen. What is seen? That with reference to Atma. Atmani prema is seen. That is the highest love or the deepest love. The love affair with Atma never comes to an end. Yeah. And then why is that so? Because universally, what do we all feel? Mana bhuvam hi bhuyasam iti. So may I never cease to be. And may I always continue. Continue to be. So we all love to be. So this shows that the self-love is Paramananda. Yeah? The love for the Atma. Everybody wants to live forever. We all want to be happy in all places, in all times. And how does the self-love express itself in the world? We all take selfies. We all look into the mirror as many times as possible. We all love to talk about ourselves. Despite the hard times, look at what all I've achieved. Yeah. So all this shows that, I love myself the most. Then what about people who end their life suicide? Now, how come they don't have self-love or what? No, they also have the same unconditional love for the Atma. But what do they not like? They don't want the life of suffering based on the current body and mind in the current circumstances. So they want to get rid of the pain and claim that Atma Ananda again. So you see that here in this very important shloka here, Vidyaranya is saying that only the love for Atma is unconditional. It is the highest love, prema. Whereas the worldly love we see towards anything, anyone in the world appears to be conditional only. Then is there no unconditional love in the world? Yeah, definitely there is unconditional love. No? Just look at our life. We are experiencing the unconditional love of Ishvara from moment to moment. Now we have been nourished from the birth onwards up to the point where we are right now. That is unconditional love of Ishvara because everything is given. Then within the Ishvara Srishti, we have received unconditional love from our parents. Yeah. And unconditional love from the Guru. So the Guru is unconditionally giving through the Parampara. Yeah, giving knowledge without any expectations. So the Jnanis, the Gurus, the Ishvara, they're all Suhrid. Suhrid means helping even strangers with no thought of return on investment. Yeah. So you see that great queen, there was a queen Madalasa. No, what is a lullaby she sings for her children? Shuddhosi, buddhosi, niranjanosi. Oh, my dear ones, you are Nitya Mukta, Nitya Shuddha, Nitya Buddha. May you always remain like this. So this is the pure, unconditional, untainted love of a mother. Without demands, without attachment. The son should be like this and this, the daughter should be like this. So without giving them the free space. So yes, there is unconditional love, pure, unalloyed love in the world. But generally, what do we see? Author is asking us to examine the nature of our relationships, our life. Is there an emotional dependence? Yeah. Is the expectation demands, then it is a conditional love. And so the conclusion here is, I will love something only as long as it gives me anandam. Children are dear to parents when they obey, when they are small, but when they grow up, they have their own prarabdha karma, their own vasanas. The gunas are all playing in their lives. So then when anything becomes a source of stress, worry, discomfort, then they are not objects of love anymore. But not so in the case of Atma. Atma is always and always will be the Parama Prema Aspadaha, because it is Paranandaha, source of Anandam. Let's look at the verse again. Iyamatma Paranandaha Parapremaspadam Yataha Manabhuvam Hi Bhuyasam Iti Prematmanikshate. Now the same thing is further elaborated in the next shloka, number 9. Let us see one more shloka today. Tat prematmartham anyatra naiva manyarthamatmani atastat paramam tena paramanandatatmanaha. Tat prema atmartham anyatra na evam anyartham atmani ataha tat paramam tena paramanandata atmanaha. So, in the 9th verse, what does Vidyaranya Muni say? Tat prema anyatra. Anyatra means towards others. Yeah. The prema anyatra, towards the world, to our family, to possessions, to our colleagues and friends. No? That is what? Is it for their sake? No. Atmartham. Look at the first quarter. Tat prema atmartham anyatra. So the love that is for anything, anywhere in the world, it is for oneself alone, for the sake of Atma. Love for children, love for our partners, love for wealth, job, everything is Atmartham alone. So for my own sake. And they give me joy and pleasure, and so I love them. Yeah. So Puja Swamiji would say, anything that brings out the pleased Atma. So whenever I'm happy and pleased in the company of someone, then I love them. Right? So that is the pleased self. But any situation, any person that makes me displeased, uncomfortable, then I don't want to be with them anymore. Then I will turn away from there and breakups. This is why marriages are ending in divorce now. Initially, we saw the partners saw each other as a source of anandam. So they became prema aspadaha, objects of love. Then slowly what happened? The relationship changed because, they found that the other person is really a source of distress, anxiety. And so that ends in a collapse. So this is true for anything and everyone. What about Guru Shishya? Now, the Guru, we know, is the Guru's prema is unconditional. Yeah. So as long as we are receiving Upadesha and everything is fine, the Shishya will always praise the Guru. But when the Guru starts pointing out certain shortcomings and says, this is not correct, this should be like this should be like that, then there are Shishyas who will turn against the Guru also. The Guru does not become an object of love and worship anymore if it is conflicting with the Shishya's own tendencies and vasanas. What about God? Yes, the devotees turn against God also. I have broken some 51 coconuts, and if God does not fulfill my sankalpa, then I'm not going to worship this God anymore. Conditional? So the conditional love that we see in the world is what Vidyaranya is driving at. Tat prema anyatra atmartham. So whatever love we show towards anyone, we do pujas. If it is with a sakama sankalpa, it is for me. I want to gain punya. If I serve the Guru, again it is for my own chitta shuddhi. If I derive any comfort, happiness, anything from anyone, it's going to make me richer. It's going to make me happy. So that is why in this 9th shloka, we are seeing the blatant, blunt truth. What is the truth? Anyatra tat prema atmartham. So the love that is shown towards anything in the world is for oneself alone. Now, what about the love that is shown towards myself, Atma? Is it for others? Second quarter. Naivam. Na evam anyartham atmani. So the last word atmani means in the Atma, tat prema. Let's take the tat prema from the first quarter. The love that is shown towards oneself, the self-love, it is definitely not for others. Naiva Naivam anyartham atmani tat prema. So the first line is clear. The love that is shown towards others, anyartham, is really atmartham, for oneself. But the love that I show for myself is for me alone. It is not for anyone else. So it shows that Atma is the dearest object of love for all. We just love to be, and we all want to be happy, successful, and peaceful all the time at all places. And anybody who contradicts it, who opposes it, is not going to be an object of my love anymore. That is the 9th shloka. Now, this 9th shloka is actually connected to the famous story of Yajnavalkya and Maitreyi from the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. We will see how. And in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, there is a story of the great sage Yajnavalkya, who was a Grihastha, enlightened Grihastha, who had 2 wives, Katyayani and Maitreyi. So after a very happy, contented, smooth Grihastha Vaidika life, one day he calls both the wives and says that I have this urge to do Nididhyasanam. No? What is Nididhyasanam? They asked. They said dwelling on Atma, doing Atma Chintanam in solitude. So I want to give up the Grihastha Jivanam and take to sannyasa for this purpose. So please let me go. And so then what? So then he calls him and divides the property. They had a Goshala and, Patashala, all these things. So responsibilities, property, everything is divided among the 2 wives. And then he's preparing to leave. So the Katyayani, she is, quite okay with the whole settlement. But Maitreyi, the other one, she has a dialogue. She says, what is it that you're going after? And he says, I'm going after Amritam, Atma. So by Nididhyasanam, I want to internalize and assimilate the fact. Then she says, with all this wealth that you have divided, will we also get that Amritam, Atma? And then the answer is, of course, no. So Yajnavalkya says, no. With all wealth and property and comforts, you'll be comfortable. Life will be convenient. But it does not guarantee Amritatvam. And then there is this beautiful dialogue in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad between Yajnavalkya and Maitreyi. And Yajnavalkya says, it is not for the sake of the wife that the wife is dear, but for one's own sake. It is not for the sake of the husband that the husband is dear to anyone, but it is for one's own sake, Atmartham. It is not for the sake of sons that the sons are dear to one, but it is for Atmartham, for one's own sake. It is not for the sake of the Brahmanas, the Kshatriyas, the gods, that they are all dear, No, they're all dear only because Atmartham, for the sake of oneself. And so, finally, a long list he gives. It's not for the sake of wealth that we pursue wealth. Wealth is pursued, titles, fame, name, everything. Sarvam. What is it pursued for? Atmartham. For one's own happiness. Atmanastu kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati. Anything and everything is dear to one because of Atma. Because it makes me happy. It brings out that Atma Ananda. And therefore what? Therefore, he concludes Yajnavalkya and says, O Maitre, Are Drashtavyaha, Shrotavyaha, Mantavyaha, Nidithyasitavyaha. That Atma, which is Paramanandaha, source of Paramananda and Prema Aspadaha, should it not be known? It should be realized. How to realize it? Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam. And so he gives the Upadesha to his own wife. And that conclusion is that the love for, our family, wife, children, spouse, partner, wealth, anything in the world is really for oneself. It's a very subtle truth here. And that is the 9th shloka here. तत्प्रेमात्मार्थमन्यत्र नैव मन्यार्थमात्मनि अतस्तत्परमं तेन परमानन्दतात्मनः. Now, Vidyaranya Muni has completed all the 3 aspects. Sat aspect as Nityam, Chit, Jnana Swarupaha, Anandam as limitlessness, Anantam. All the 3 aspects. And in the next shloka, 10, he summarizes everything. So from 3 to 10, Vidyaranya Muni has concluded the Tvam-pada Vichara. Now in the 10th verse, the author is showing that the same logic applies to Tat-padam. So let's look at the 10th verse briefly. Ittham satchit paranandaha atma yuktya tatha vidham param brahmatayoschaikyam shrutyanteshu padishyate. Ittham, in this way, satchit parananda atma, that is satyam jnanam anantam atma, yuktya. Yuktya means with logic. We have just seen the logic. By logic of Avasthatraya Sakshi, and this logic that whatever is the source of Ananda is what I love the most. So Atma must be the source of the highest Ananda. The Ananda that will not wax and wane, but which is Advaitananda. Tathavidham. Tathavidham means similarly what? Let us arrive at the nature of Param Brahma also in the same way. So Parabrahma also is Sat Chit Ananda Brahma. And Tayoho, of the 2, Aikyam, of which 2? Atma and Paramatma. Jivatma and Paramatma, of the 2, the Aikyam or the essential nature. This is the essential nature, Sat Chit Ananda. And is revealed, Upadishyate. Where is it revealed? Shrutyanteshu. Shruti Anteshu, at the end portion of the Shruti, which is Vedanta. Vedanta or the Upanishads. Yeah? So, this we will take up in the next class. Now it is going to end. My phone battery is also going down. So finally what? Finally, Vedanta helps us to introspect more and more. Introspect more and more to arrive at the Atma-nirbharata. Atma-nirbharata means from all kinds of dependencies we grow up with. Initially, it's fine. As a child, we are physically, emotionally dependent. Then in the Grihastha, period also. But slowly we have to understand the emotional crutches are going to be taken away. Emotional crutches means emotional dependencies. And as they go away, what will remain? Atmanirbharata. Atmanirbharata is the Advaitam Ekaha Atma. My total dependence is on that. And everything else, all the avasthas, the stages of life, all the scenes of my life, they all shift in time and space, but I alone am. I'm the original consciousness, Brahmatma, and all the avasthas and the changes and the titles, all the nama rupas, everything belong to mind. They're all arriving and departing, cyclic. But what is the adhara of everything? Adhara is Advaitam, invariable, constant. So, in the next shloka, Vidyaranya is going to say, okay, if we are all Ananda Swarupa Atma, why don't we know it? Morning I get up, from the moment I wake up till I drop off to sleep, there is so much struggle. Anxiety, worry is clouding the mind. How can I be the Ananda Rupa Atma? So, in the next few shlokas, the author is going to say, like today, overcast clouds, thunder showers in Hyderabad. But is the sun there or not? Sun is obstructed. Yeah. The sun is there, but clouds are there. So too, I know that I am. I am, and I know that I am. Now, the only challenge is to know that I am always Ananda Rupa Atma. Yeah. And so, we all know the Atma. Okay, Atma is Satyam, Atma is Chit, I can accept. Yeah, I am eternal, Nitya Vastu. Yeah, I am the sentient conscious being, fine. But am I Ananda all the time? That is a little difficult to accept. So in the next few shlokas, we're going to see how the author says that we know Atma, but we do not know sufficiently about Atma. And so just as Yajnavalkya tells Maitri that one has to do Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasnam, and then discover all the three aspects over time. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.